Well, hello and welcome to my latest video, a gravel bike. You see, now what you've got to get a gravel bike because all of the roads in England and Europe and the United States, I mean, they're being dismantled and they're being replaced with gravel. So if you've got a road bike, it's just not going to work anymore. It's got to be a gravel bike. And the thing about mountain bikes, right, there aren't any mountains in Britain, so you don't need a mountain bike. What you need is a gravel bike, and the reason you need a gravel bike is because a gravel bike is the best bike you can have. It's the combination of all the best things of a road bike and a mountain bike and a Brompton and a recumbent and a four-wheeled bike, a tricycle. It's a combination of all of those things, and it allows you to do the best cycling that you can because it's got all these different things about it. Now, the thing about a gravel bike, right, what they've done is they've produced a bike with two wheels. I mean, that's quite original. And then they've made it with fat tyres. Okay, you couldn't get a bike with fat tyres before. You could get a fat tyre bike, but that wasn't a bike with fat tyres. That was a fat tyre bike. That was a different thing altogether. But the thing about a gravel bike is, right, it's got fat tyres and it's got like knobbly tyres, you know, not like knobbly like you have in your best mate's uncle or whatever it is. You've got knobbly tyres, and what that does, it means you can ride on gravel and you can ride on potholes and you can ride on roads. Not that there are any roads anymore. And it's also got these really low gears. So they used to have low gears on bikes, but they weren't gravel bikes, you see, so it wasn't the same. So they had to introduce this special bike that they called a gravel bike that you could ride on gravel because there weren't any roads, and then they produced really low gears. So if you're like a shit cyclist and you couldn't get up hills or anything like that, then you had to get low gears, you see. So what you got if you were a shit cyclist, you got a gravel bike and that had low gears on it. And it also had these kind of flared handlebars, right? Like your granddad used to wear flared trousers back in the 60s and cheesecloth shirts, and he used to get stoned all the time. Well, now what they do is they've made flared handlebars, okay? And they're flared handlebars, so they flare out like that. It makes it really uncomfortable, and it gives you like a problem with your wrist. You know, you get RSI, so if you use them too much, it's really bad for you. But the thing is, you see, Pogacar, he started to use flared handlebars, and that's why they put them on all of the gravel bikes, because he uses them. And of course, a gravel bike, I mean, it's the next best thing. So you got the fat tyres, you got the low gears, you got the flared handlebars, and they made the bottom bracket, they made it really low, okay, so when you go over a pothole you don't feel it, and they made the bottom bracket really high, so whenever you go over rocks you don't feel it, you see. And they've got pedals like SPD pedals, mountain bike pedals, not like the pedals that you used to have on a mountain bike. They're special gravel pedals, you see, and you have to have gravel clothes, gravel shoes, gravel helmet, gravel sunglasses. I mean, you've got gravel chamois cream, you've got gravel bike cleaner, you've got all this kind of stuff that they made specially for the gravel bikes, because the gravel bike, you see, is the future of cycling. So there's no point having a road bike with, like a Colnago or a Trek or whatever like that. What you've got to have is you've got to have a Colnago gravel bike, you've got to have a Trek gravel bike, you see. It's just a bike, but they call it a gravel bike, and that way you can get an extra bike that you didn't really need, but you wanted an extra bike, so you've got N+1, and now you've got the gravel bike, you see. And you see it advertised, you can go to Iceland and you can go to all these places where they haven't got any gravel, like in Kent or in the south of England or the United States or places like that where they've got gravel, but they haven't got any real gravel. They've only got stuff that they call gravel, so that people can buy a gravel bike and they think, oh look, shit, I now can ride on gravel. And if you go out in Kent, like where I live, and you look for some gravel, there ain't fucking gravel. Okay, so you bought this gravel bike, you've wasted all your money, and you've got a steel bike. You see, it's a steel bike because it's much more comfortable. What they found out is that people wanted carbon bikes, but actually carbon bikes are shit. They're not comfortable at all. They keep on falling apart. I mean, they crash and they break. So if you get a steel bike, you see, it's like this. It's much more comfortable. This is a special gravel bike. This is called a Fairlight. This is an English made. It's an iconic kind of British design. It's just like a steel bike used to be, only it's got this wider clearance, so you can get these fatter tyres on it. Maybe tubeless tyres, not that they work, of course, but you've got to have tubeless tyres if you've got to have a gravel bike. So you get a gravel bike, you see, and you've got tubeless tyres, you've got fat tyres, you've got this lower bottom bracket, you've got this raised bottom bracket, you've got these flared handlebars that give you RSI, and they've got these lower gears, and then you can go out, you can get all this special gravel clothes, so you don't wear like a lycra shirt. What you wear is a lycra shirt, but it hasn't got a collar, you see, and that makes it a gravel shirt. Plus you wear shorts. You don't wear lycra shorts, but you wear these special gravel lycra shorts, and they've got cargo pockets, so you can put cargo and shit in it, you see, because you don't want to have a bar bag or anything like that, or anything in your pockets. You want to have a special frame bag, you see, so you can get a frame bag for it. You can go bike packing on it. You can do all sorts on a gravel bike. You can do anything that you used to do. Now they've got like a folding Brompton gravel bike, so you can take it out and go on the gravel. You can go in the coffee shop with your MacBook Air, whatever it is, and when you go out you can ride on the gravel if you can find any gravel. But the thing about a gravel bike is it's the future of cycling, so I think you ought to go and buy one, really, you should.